Hey guitar players, in this next lesson for you about understanding your fretboard better, what I want to talk to you about today is 3 notes per string scales and how that stuff all works. So in our last lesson I talked to you about the caged positions 1 and 4 for the Aeolian mode or the natural minor scale. What we're going to do today, we're just going to look at shape 1 of Aeolian in 3 notes per string, okay? So 3 notes per string scales, the whole nature of that, it does what it says on the tin basically. What you do when you're playing a scale 3 notes per string, you play 3 notes on a string, then you progress to the next string. So if we learn the shape of A natural minor, shape 1 right now, you can see the fretboard diagram, but I'll talk you through it as well. So what we're going to do on the bottom string, we're going to play 5, 7, 8. We're going to do the same thing on the 6th string, 5, 7, 8. What I would suggest is probably use fingers 1, 3 and 4 to do that. Then we're going to progress to our D string and we're going to play frets 5, 7 and 9. Now, fingering wise, I would suggest that you use fingers 1, 2 and 4 when you do this. A lot of people that I see when I'm teaching and all the rest of it is people are going for fingers 1, 3 and 4. And I can see why people will find that a bit more natural, but it puts a big stretch on these 2 fingers here. So your second finger is kind of like left in limbo, and then yes, the 3rd finger and the 4th finger are quite close together, but for a lot of people I would suggest that this makes much more sense if you do fingers 1, 2 and 4. Now, I usually get a bit of pushback on this where students will say to me stuff like, yeah, but Paul Gilbert back in the day used to use fingers 1, 3 and 4. Yes, he did. If you look at the technical difficulties video that he did on the REH video thing that he did all that time ago, you'll find that stretches in there and all that sort of thing. But I think when you watch him play these days, he's adopted a different playing style. You also have to think about someone like that. He's got absolutely gargantuan sized hands. So what I would always do is take the common denominator. So when you look across all the people that play in that kind of way, Yngwie, John Petrucci, Guthrie Govan, Jason Becker, like, you know, the list could go on. And I'm not saying they're not the only people that use 3 notes per string. If you're a blues player watching this thinking, oh no, this is just for like the shred dudes and all that sort of stuff, you'll find people like Joe Bonamassa will use 3 notes per string at certain points and various things like that. So there's lots of different ways why this could be useful to you for sure. So I would suggest fingers 1, 2 and 4 anyway. Now the thing I will caveat that with is when you're looking at fingerings, they are only a suggestion, they're not an absolute rule, but I would only suggest something because I think it would help you more. Anyway, so we've got 5, 7, 9 on the D string. We're going to do the same thing on the G string. Then we're going to go to the B string and we're going to play 6, 8, 10. So as you can see with those 3 strings, I have kept my fingering exactly the same. Then on the top string, we've got 7, 8, 10 with fingers 1, 2 and 4. Okay, and then that completes the whole shape. So what I want to do here is give you a couple of pointers on how I would go about mastering something like this and learning it. There's a couple of things that you can do, which is to break the shape up into string pairs. So if you look at strings 6 and 5, just playing that little pattern there, just getting used to going over that. That will basically drill that part of the shape into your fingers, muscle memory and all the rest of it. Then you can do the same thing on the D and G strings. Then if you did the same thing on the top strings, you'd get this. You could also reverse all of that if you wanted to. And so that's one thing that I would suggest, is chopping it all up into like little 2-string parts. Also as well, if you want to expand on that, then chop the shape in half almost so like you saw down the middle of your guitar neck. I wouldn't suggest that you do that because it might make you upset. But what I would then do is go basically up 3 strings and back down. Then you do the same thing on the top half. Then once you've done that, what you could do is just play up and down the entire shape if you wanted to, and what I'd probably do is play all the way through it, re-pick the note at the top and then come back down, something like this. Okay, and then that would be a really good way of looking at how you would learn a 3 notes per string shape. Now the thing is, in this lesson, I don't want this to go on all that much longer, but basically they are the processes that I would take for learning all of the 3 notes per string shapes, of which there are 7. There is 1 shape for every note in the scale. Now, there's lots and lots of information out there about all of that stuff, and like I say, if you've got the fretboard diagrams and you know what you're doing with those sorts of things, they're the processes that I would go through to help you learn all of those. If you want more help than you can find here, then by all means go to the Cutting Edge Guitar Learning platform, which you'll find a link to in my bio, where I've got loads and loads of lessons about all of this kind of thing. Also, if you're looking for answers to what are your biggest guitar playing problems right now and what's holding you back, go again to the link in my bio where you will find an assessment tool where you can get free feedback that will show you what you need to be working on right now to get better. It's completely free of charge to use, so go and check that out. Okay guys, thanks ever so much for watching. I'll see you in the next lesson.